Hey Bears fans, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into everything Chicago Bears, breaking down every move, every rumor, and every strategy shaping our team. As we kick off this offseason, the first mailbag of the year is coming in hot, and we are ready to tackle all your questions and concerns. It's always exciting to see how things shake out when the dust settles, and right now, the chatter is all about Max Crosby. The big question is, should the Bears go all in to bring him aboard? Personally, I'm still on the fence. It really comes down to what the team would have to give up to make it happen. If it involves 2 first-round picks, I'd be hesitant. The Bears are picking in the 20s this year, and that's roughly the range you hope to hit again next year, maybe even slightly lower in the 30s. There's potential for a deal, but it's all about the value being exchanged. If the Bears could land Crosby for a first-round pick, a second-day pick, and perhaps a player like DJ Moore included, I'd be much more open to it. Of course, it depends on what the Raiders decide. At the time of this recording, they may still be figuring out their coaching situation. Crosby's own intentions matter too. Does he want to stay, or is he looking for a change of scenery? All of that is yet to be determined, and it's exactly the kind of rumor that will swirl throughout this offseason. Imagine the possibilities. Adding Crosby could instantly upgrade our pass rush, and he'd bring the kind of disruptive presence that can completely change the defensive landscape. So, let me throw it back to you, Bears Nation. Should the Bears trade for Max Crosby? Type yes if you're all in. Type no if you think it's too much. Comparing Max to other defensive talents like MYLES, it's a tough call. MYLES is undoubtedly a high-caliber player, but he comes with a bigger price tag and a heavier contract over the next several years. The cap implications matter, and sometimes a slightly lower-profile player like Crosby might provide more immediate impact relative to the cost. If you're looking at what it takes to acquire either, Crosby might make more sense from a balance perspective, even if MYLES is the more complete player overall. And we can't ignore what Crosby recently accomplished. Setting the single-season sack record is no small feat, and it's a performance that immediately elevates his value and reputation around the league. The conversation doesn't stop there, though. DJ Moore has been on everyone's radar, and the question of who would trade for him has come up repeatedly. There are definitely teams that could take him on, considering next year's cap hit is around $24 million. That number is manageable for teams looking to add offensive weapons, and there's always the possibility to restructure or move on after a year if things don't work out. Realistically, the return in terms of draft picks won't be astronomical. You're probably looking at a 4th or 5th round pick rather than something in the first 3 rounds. It's more about clearing cap space, freeing up resources to invest in other areas, and strategically positioning the team for future growth. Moore still has value in the league, and teams like the Titans, Patriots, or Raiders could benefit from a skill set if they have the cap space and a need for a reliable target. As we dive into the draft and off-season planning, the focus clearly turns toward defensive upgrades. If the Bears want to be competitive and improve their identity, targeting defensive linemen, linebackers, or safeties becomes a top priority. The goal is to balance the roster, hit on multiple picks in the draft, and ideally complement any trades for established players like Crosby. The strategy is about building depth, ensuring you have multiple contributors who can step in and make an impact. The past few seasons showed us how drafting offensive players successfully can transform a team, and now the challenge is translating that success to the defensive side of the ball. For the defensive line, names like Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Trey Hendrickson come up in free agency, and it's critical to evaluate the defensive tackle market as well. Could a player like Danielle Hunter become available? Could Jeffrey Simmons or other impact players join the roster? These are the scenarios that could define the Bears' offseason and ultimately determine how competitive this team will be next year. It's not just about adding talent. It's about adding the right talent that fits the scheme and addresses the team's most pressing needs. Javon Dexter's performance has sparked conversations about whether he might be moved or redefined within the team. His struggles against the run have been a concern, even though he flashes as a pass rusher. That inconsistency limits his long-term value as a starter, positioning him more as a rotational player or a situational contributor. The Bears may look to adjust his role, or consider a trade if it opens the door for better scheme fits. These kinds of adjustments are part of building a roster capable of competing at a higher level and managing both talent and cap resources effectively. Even as the offseason stretches on, other storylines remain critical. Left tackle depth, potential draft picks, and player development for younger athletes like Ruben Hipp all factor into the Bears' planning. The team has to assess injury risks, positional depth, and long-term potential when deciding how to approach free agency and the draft. For younger players, the focus is often on growth and finding roles where they can contribute immediately, even if it starts with special teams or rotational snaps. That kind of progress can define the success of a player's early career and, in turn, the team's overall growth trajectory. Through all these discussions, the key takeaway is that this offseason is about positioning, evaluation, and smart decision-making. Whether it's chasing Max Crosby, assessing DJ Moore's market, or planning the draft strategy, every choice has long-term implications. The Bears need to balance high-impact acquisitions with thoughtful development of existing talent, ensuring that each move contributes to the team's competitiveness and aligns with their strategic vision for the coming seasons. The decisions made now will ripple through training camp and the next season, shaping both the immediate and future fortunes of this storied franchise. As we continue diving into the offseason moves, it's impossible to ignore the strategic importance of the draft. For the Bears, the focus will be on shoring up the defensive front while also considering the depth and versatility of the roster. Day 1 and Day 2 picks are critical, and in an ideal world, the team would target 2 defensive linemen along with either a linebacker or a safety to provide flexibility. Last year, the Bears found success by landing multiple offensive contributors, and now the challenge is repeating that success on the defensive side. Hitting on 2 or 3 defensive picks could completely reshape the team's identity and establish a foundation for years to come. If the Bears decide to trade some premium picks for established players, the calculus changes, but the principle remains the same: maximize value while addressing immediate needs. The conversation around potential draft prospects is always speculative, but there's one name that has generated buzz: Jeremiah Love. If he were to fall to 25, it would be impossible to ignore the temptation to grab him. Love has the potential to be the best player available by a significant margin, but realistically, his draft stock is unlikely to fall that far. Many mocks place him going as early as the 3rd pick. Still, hypotheticals like this provide insight into how the Bears could approach the draft strategically, weighing the risk of missing out on a generational talent against the opportunity to maximize other assets. It's the kind of decision that can define a franchise for years. Looking at the defensive line, it's clear this is the biggest area of need for the Bears. Free agency and trade targets are constantly shifting, and names like Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, and Trey Hendrickson are part of the conversation. Beyond that, the defensive tackle market could see some movement, with players like Jeffrey Simmons potentially available. The team may also explore trade opportunities, including players like Max Crosby or others who could fit the scheme. Building a dominant defensive front isn't just about one superstar. It's about assembling a cohesive unit that can pressure quarterbacks, stop the run, and rotate effectively. It's a delicate balance, and the Bears' front office will need to be precise in their evaluations and acquisitions. When discussing younger players, the focus shifts to development and potential. Ruben Hipp, for example, represents an investment in speed and athleticism on defense. The Bears drafted him to bring a new dynamic to the defense, but his rookie season didn't go as planned. It's crucial for the team to develop these athletes properly, giving them roles where they can succeed, whether on special teams, as rotational contributors, or as situational playmakers. Growth in the offseason can make a significant difference in year 2, and it's often the players who adapt and maximize their opportunities who become long-term contributors. This development philosophy applies across the roster and is part of the larger strategy to balance immediate competitiveness with sustained improvement. Left tackle depth is another important storyline entering the offseason. AZ's situation, particularly following his injury, highlights the need to evaluate options at this position. While the team may not prioritize drafting a tackle early, adding depth through free agency or later-round picks can provide insurance against injuries and ensure the offensive line remains solid. The Bears have to weigh the risk of underperformance or injury against the cost of acquiring a swing tackle or developing younger talent internally. Each decision at a position like left tackle impacts not only the line's effectiveness, but also the quarterback's protection and the overall offensive rhythm. Trading and cap management remain central themes. Players like DJ Moore provide an opportunity to free up cap space while still retaining talent value. Teams looking to acquire more may offer mid-round draft picks, and the cap implications allow flexibility for both sides. This kind of maneuvering is essential in building a roster capable of competing at a high level. It's not just about the player you trade or acquire. It's about how it positions the team for multiple seasons and allows the front office to strategically allocate resources to maximize competitiveness. As discussions swirl around potential free agent targets, trades, and draft picks, one thing is clear. The Bears' offseason strategy must be deliberate and proactive. Every addition, whether through draft or trade, is designed to complement existing talent while addressing weaknesses. The team must balance the desire for immediate impact with long-term roster construction, ensuring that every move contributes to a cohesive and competitive roster. Defensive upgrades, offensive line depth, and skill position talent are all interconnected, and the Bears need to think holistically about how each piece fits into the larger puzzle. The quarterback position, while stable for now, is not immune to these considerations. Offensive line protection, defensive support, and skill position weapons all influence the performance and longevity of the quarterback. The Bears' ability to protect their investment at this position depends on shoring up weaknesses across the roster and making calculated moves in free agency and the draft. Each addition or trade affects the dynamics of the team, and finding the right combination is a delicate balancing act that requires foresight and precision. Looking forward, the Bears also have to manage expectations for younger contributors and new acquisitions. Performance evaluations, role definitions, and positional adjustments all play a role in maximizing each player's contribution. The team must be patient with developing players while also holding veterans accountable for consistent production. This dual approach allows the Bears to cultivate talent internally while pursuing impactful acquisitions externally. Each decision, from draft selection to free agent signing, shapes the trajectory of the team and its ability to compete at a high level consistently. Throughout the offseason, the narrative will continue to evolve. Rumors, trades, draft speculation, and performance evaluations will dominate the conversation, but the overarching theme remains the same: building a competitive, balanced, and strategically constructed roster. From defensive line priorities to offensive line depth, skill position talent, and cap management, every decision must be deliberate and aligned with the team's long-term goals. Bears fans can expect a dynamic offseason with plenty of opportunities for excitement, debate, and analysis as the team navigates the complex process of roster construction and strategic planning. The Bears' success hinges on their ability to execute across multiple fronts, developing young talent, making smart acquisitions, managing the salary cap, and building a roster capable of competing in every phase of the game. From draft day to free agency, each decision carries weight and impacts not only the immediate season, but also the foundation for years to come. As the offseason progresses, we'll continue to analyze every move, evaluate every opportunity, and explore how the Bears can position themselves to return to competitiveness and contend for playoff success in the seasons ahead. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. What began as a routine media moment quickly turned into one of the most talked about rumors around the league. Myles Garrett, usually measured when discussing opponents outside his division, offered comments about the Chicago Bears that sent the rumor mill into overdrive. The star pass rusher didn't sound dismissive, nor did he lean into the usual praise by default athletes often give. Instead, his words landed somewhere in between, and that gray area is exactly what has people reading between the lines. According to those present, Garrett hinted at a level of respect for the Bears that went beyond preparation cliches. He reportedly spoke about their physical identity, the way they challenge defenders snap after snap, and how their approach forces elite players to adjust rather than dominate. For a defender known for dictating terms, that kind of acknowledgement felt telling. Some interpreted it as a subtle warning. Others saw it as admiration. A few went further, wondering if Garrett was revealing more than he intended. Around league circles, speculation followed quickly. Was Garrett simply being honest about a matchup that demanded his best? Or was he signaling that the Bears are closer to relevance than many assume? His tone, described as thoughtful rather than confrontational, fueled theories that Chicago's roster construction and mentality have begun to earn respect from the league's biggest names, even if public narratives haven't caught up yet. There's also another layer fans can't ignore. When players of Garrett's stature speak openly about another franchise, it often sparks whispers about future possibilities, shared philosophies, or simple football curiosity. No claims were made, no doors opened, but the surprise came from how comfortable Garrett seemed acknowledging the Bears as more than just another opponent. Whether his reaction was strategic, candid, or simply misunderstood, one thing is clear. Myles Garrett said just enough to make people listen. And in a league where words are often as calculated as play calls, that alone is enough to keep the speculation alive. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.